Hi, it's me, Ava. I make the Stuck in Vermont video series. I've been doing it for 17 years. I'm here in Burlington, Vermont, and it snowed. We have a beautiful snowy backyard, which is exciting. I am doing something different, and I am publishing the raw footage from my video about Ann and Tom and about how they live sustainably in Jericho, Vermont. It seemed to really interest many of you. You left many comments. It has 76,000 views, and a lot of people said, we want to see more from them. And because Ann and Tom don't go on the internet a ton, I am hoping that their son's going to start a YouTube channel for them, and then you can learn more from them. But in the meantime, I thought I would publish the raw footage from the video. And I don't do that a lot because it's not really meant to be aired. It's just me walking around with an iPhone, doing my best to capture what I can. But since there's an interest there, I thought you guys might enjoy spending more time with Ann and Tom. It's exclusive to YouTube. So I hope you enjoy this extended raw cut version. And please don't tell me how bad the camera work is, because it wasn't meant to be aired. This is just a special treat because you all enjoyed spending time with them. So here's more. Take care, everybody. Happy holidays. Happy almost New Year from Vermont, where it's quite cold.
They're getting ripe.
Wow. Yum.
So it's
We
interesting.
dry them too.
You have to feel them on the stem. They're ripe when you can just like gently release them. If they still hang on, they could probably use a day or two more. But then you're vying with the fruit flies.
So you eat them in the summer and then you dry them for the winter as well?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. And that's a plum tree.
That's a plum. This is a plum over here too. That's
Plums do better in
Plums.
full sun,
Yeah.
so we have to kind of
So-
keep them away from the larger
too many trees. So the apples are over here behind them.
Oh, neat. Well,
60 or 70 miles.
The gusts were 60 or 70.
Yeah.
And we'll show
It
you
was
what
like the
happened.
Wizard of Oz. I mean, sticks were flying.
Everything was flying all over the place.
it was like that in Burlington too. We
I'm sure it was.
just like, what is going
Like,
on?
this is dangerous. We need to get inside.
Yeah, it was great. There was a
Auntie M.
Where's Auntie M? So, tell me where we are right now. Now I can hear you both.
We're in Jericho on Browns Trace, where we've been for the last 30-some years.
And do you call this a farm? What do you call it?
A homestead, I
Yeah, it's
think.
a homestead, I guess.
Because our cultivated land is only about 2.5 acres between the two houses, and 60 acres of woodlot. Right up to the top of Birch Hill, hence the moniker at the front. So when we first moved here, we were interested in resuming a tradition of maple sugaring. Now, I grew up in Louisiana, and that's sugar cane farmland, but Ann's forebears were sugar makers as part of their dairy. I mean, that was the thing here in Vermont too. It was something that dairy farmers did during that one window when they weren't, pasturing cows or doing all the maintenance.
I still remember that we had a sugar house when I was growing up, but they had stopped sugaring because the cows took so much time and everything else took so much time. But I remember going into the old sugar house and there were stacks and stacks of keelers, wooden keelers made by hand. And that's what they used to collect the sap. And I still have some of them.
Oh, very nice.
Some of them are falling apart, but maybe someday I'll get to put them together.
And how do you describe this homestead to people? Like, how would you?
It evolved over time. We had a sort of an idea of what we wanted to do. We wanted to show our kids how to grow food. We wanted to teach them respect for the land. We wanted them to be outside and look at insects and look and find and pique their curiosity and just observe things in nature. And so it wasn't very hard to get them outside because
Three boys.
There was not much room in the house. And so they made their little forts and they went outside and did things. And we needed firewood, and I didn't know much about firewood then. And so they brought everything they could think of to come in to burn to keep warm. And then we gradually realized how you do firewood. I'll show you what we do now, but it's a lot different than then. But we were just basically trying to keep warm because the house was so cold. It was single pane, no insulation cabin.
So necessity.
Necessity.
And it was 1990.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so you don't want to walk. You can show me stuff.
That is the old bee yard, but it's grown up.
It only takes a growing season to
Obliterate it. But
bees have proven to be very difficult to keep here in Jericho because of not only the uncertainties of the weather, but I think we've lost colonies with the neonicotinoid controversy. And so for now, we don't raise bees. We try to patronize the farmers here who do.
So honey is one of the few things on your shopping list.
no, well, we still have jars of honeycomb.
From our last colonies,
Yeah.
yeah.
And we'll show you, we have shelves of stores, and that's one thing we haven't depleted too much. So we're still set for our honey, but it's gonna, unless we do bees again, we'll
It
keep
does
buying
remind
from
me
other
that
people.
when our children were young, one of the things that Anne grew up relishing was her time with 4-H. And so we started a 4-H club amongst our acquaintances here in Underhill. And it was insect oriented was the theme. And so learning to keep bees, we also realized that the food supply for bees needs to be spread out across the whole growing season. And that was part of the impetus for allowing this pasture area to grow up. And we began to experiment with just what kind of nectar and pollen producing plants would thrive in this kind of situation. And along the way, Anne's father took an interest in seeing us grow some of the things that he had been familiar with as a kid. So he planted black walnut and butternut trees along the lane, and we still have a few of them that we harvest walnuts from. Yeah.
So is it
This is a black walnut tree.
Oh, okay. How do you harvest from?
We wait till
When
it falls down.
when the nuts fall, we pick them off the ground.
They go in about 7-year cycle. They have one bumper crop every 7 years, and then some mediocre crop, and then sometimes almost nothing. This year it's almost
This is
nothing.
a down year for walnuts.
Yeah. But that's okay, because last year it was a lot of work, because you have to stomp.
We have
all-
several thousand nuts in reserve from the 2023.
And we got very tired of having the squirrels come and take the nuts. So we built a sort of a vault.
vault.
We'll show you what it is.
Yeah.
The squirrel-proof vault for our walnuts.
That is ooh, there's a big, is that a crow?
No, that's our friend, the raven.
You probably heard that funny noise. That's the raven. We call him cell phone raven, because when we were working on that house 7, 8 years ago,
Yeah.
we heard this odd raven call, and we said, I think he's trying to imitate a cell phone. And so he's still here, and he has a mate, and he
And
also
they
has,
raised a chick this year.
Yeah.
Who's-
And so I think he's telling me that we have compost for the chickens and the ducks, and sometimes I bring it for him. And one time he was sitting in in the walnut tree, and he was picking off leaves and putting them down right at the dish where I put it. And so I said, here's something for you, and I put it there. And when we haven't fed them yet this morning, so that's probably why.
Hey, what about me?
So he's sort of just elegantly like, hey, see
Yeah.
me, here I am.
Yeah.
I haven't had my breakfast yet.
Yeah.
Just letting you know.
Yeah.
Sounds
Yeah.
like something my cats would do.
Yeah, of course. Okay.
So we've gradually added to the orchard and learned what walnuts can do to the soil, not just the shade that they provide, but they produce chemicals that will inhibit certain plants, and apples are one of them. But as you can see, goldenrod does fine, purple flying raspberry, bee balm does fine, certainly raspberries do fine.
Jack in the pulpits do fine.
And another one is Solomon seal. That seems to thrive right at the base of the tree. So we experiment with what will grow where, and this is the kind of the culmination of it. It's a blend of food for us and a habitat for insects that'll support songbirds, native birds, and a whole
And
array.
nesting areas are important too. And so they like, song sparrows like to have this kind of area. And so,
We have resident catbirds.
yeah.
They're always amusing. They entertain you all summer long with their various calls. They like to imitate certain sounds too.
Yeah.
And they like blueberries.
Ooh. So is the goal to have this be not only an edible landscape for you two to sustain yourselves, but also to foster an environment for insects and...
Yes.
Yeah, I also I teach music lessons, and it's occurred to me that it's really good for kids to see this kind of thing, and maybe they'll try to do things at home. I'll show you some beans that are very popular with the students especially if one's waiting for a sibling to get done. I've got something for them to do. So instead of like phone or something.
Yeah, everyone goes straight. And this is an apple orchard, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, this is apple. These are black currants.
Oh, these bushes are?
Yeah, these bushes are black currants. They've passed now, but we
rely on them in June and early July.
Yeah, they become ripe before the blueberries, and you can dry them, and they last for years.
A small patch like this will produce gallons of fruit, and they tend to keep well as dried fruit.
We have another patch over by the chicken house of same kind of the same berries, and this is our blueberry patch, which over the years we've had to worry about raccoons coming, bears coming,
Wild turkeys. And of course the blue jays and robins.
Yeah, they're small, but
they cue in on that dark blue.
But raccoons in a night can they've broken down branches and everything. So we got serious about protecting our blueberries. So we have a 6-foot high mesh fence all around here. And just this year, our son, Alan, decided that we needed to have it electrified. I said, oh my gosh, that's a lot of work. Well, what else? What else is new? So we put all these wires around, and luckily Tom knows a lot more about electricity than I do, which is about 0. And he's got the whole thing going, and we have a charger we call that the solar barn, because it's got solar panels on it. It's right by the chicken house.
So this is solar powered?
Yeah.
So you have electricity.
Oh yeah, we net meter into the grid.
So you have electricity, you're on the grid.
Yes.
But then
Yeah.
you also have solar panels.
Yeah, we try to use as little electricity as we can. I mean, we don't like stumble around in the dark or anything, but
That's
you know,
good.
we try to find ways to do something without electricity. Like I bought a really nice dehydrator, and you know, it's kind of top of the line, and got it, and I thought, oh, okay, I'm going to dry my food, and it does a good job. Except the electricity was like out the roof.
Not as bad as a welding machine,
No,
but
no, well,
it
right, we do
cranks
have a
out the
well-
kilowatt hours.
We do have a welding machine too, but never mind.
We don't dry food with the welding machine.
Good, good. I'm glad to hear it.
So then I said, well, we got to do something different. So I said, wow, solar. So we did solar on our roof with trays for a while. And then when we got this house over here and we built the big greenhouse, Alan and I put up a rack so that we can put like 8 different, eight
Large trays.
Large trays, and they're 2 feet by 2 feet. So you get 4 square feet for each tray. And so you have to keep an eye on it. Like, you don't have to watch apples so much or blueberries so much, but tomatoes, you have to turn them, you cut them up and you put them all out. And then when they get dry enough, you have to turn them, all the pieces over, and then put them in again, and make sure you don't wait too long or they'll just turn black like that, and they're fried. So you have to be really, I've done that too. So the drying is a good way to do it with, you know, solar, if you can. Anyway,
Well, and so you're using the solar.
chips were in the driveway. We were putting around the blueberries for
Is
over
this
winter.
whole enclosure blueberries?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And we have a chipper that we also chip our ramial wood to put around the trees.
Apples like wood chips as well
Yeah.
as a substrate, and it helps retain the moisture in the soil, and it keeps weeds at bay. And we also learned that you can grow mushrooms in the wood chips. We don't have an active bed here this year, but we've grown a fair number of crops of mushrooms under the canopy of the apple trees. So it's a way to do more with a small space. And mushrooms keep well dried as well, we found. You don't have to use them fresh.
Yeah,
We've
they're
learned
good.
that
They're good
they've-
dried.
Certain varieties retain their flavor as dried. Others don't taste nearly as well. They're better off eaten fresh. But you know, it's these little tidbits that you
I
learn.
know. Well, I'm thinking like 34 years you've been doing this, and it sounds like you've just been learning as you go.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, like what grows well.
Make a
what
lot of
dries
mistakes, and you realize, oh my gosh, no, I don't do that.
And I mean, we've been able to learn from others too.
Yeah.
It's not like we
Yeah.
reinvented the wheel. People are. It's amazing how willing people are to share their techniques and stuff.
There's one guy who's passed away named Walt Sen, and he lives not too far.
Just
too
over
far. And he
the-
grew up on Governor Peck when he was
a
young.
kid. Yeah,
on
his
dairy
family
farm.
ran a little dairy.
Anyway, he told us, he showed us many things about bees, and his son still keeps bees over there. And
just past Joe's out in
Yeah.
in Essex
yeah,
on Route 15.
and he does a very good job. Walt's son does.
And would you call this living sustainably? Like what I know.
Yeah, that's the term that I realized in environmental science, sustainable living. And there's like 3 basic tenets, and one is to use power
Energy
from the sun, and recycle nutrients, and what's the third one?
Biodiversity.
Biodiversity. Yeah. And
It's another rationale for limiting the lawn area.
we have a reel mower also, one of those REEL ones.
That goes through here.
Yeah.
Well, you push it. you know,
Oh,
and it,
yeah, sure.
yeah, you know, that type.
I have one of those, yeah.
You do, good. It's a manual
I
one.
don't even use it. I use an electric weed whacker. I have a very small backyard.
Oh, yeah,
and
I know.
I barely have any grass, too. So.
Yeah, yeah. It's a different situation. So, you know.
If you see anything that you would like to grow
Yeah,
at your
let us
house,
know.
let us know. We're happy to share
Thank
whatever.
you so much. That's so sweet. I have echinacea.
This is called bone set here.
Oh, I was wondering about that.
This is it has sessile leaves. You see how these leaves are go right through the stem.
Honeybees and native bees, they all love it. It had in the old lore, they called it bone set because supposedly the extract could help set broken bones, but that was strictly a wives' tale.
So there's a honeybee right now on there.
So is this, you have this for pollinators?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, thank you for coming right over to me. What a nice honeybee you are.
Oh yes.
Like,
Says, I want to be on camera.
Be on the video. Cecil DeMille. So do you know if there's hives around here?
Yeah, there are. We know some people that have hives not too far away.
They work so hard, these honeybees.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they do.
There it goes. She goes probably.
Uh-huh.
Yes, girls.
That's right. Girls do all the work.
Oh, I know.
No.
Like, I need to be told that.
Even here's another, we have another patch of blueberries. So we got 2 of them.
So are most of your food items in these areas to be
Yes.
from
In the,
Yeah.
in the,
bears, everybody?
Right.
oh, no, we don't have this kind of thing around our garden. We just have a fence and
We
deal with-
rely on some of these organic sprays like with rotten eggs and castor oil and peppermint.
Yeah, some of them are
spray.
called deer away. You know, it smells bad for deer and rabbits, and so if we put that around, it's pretty much
Some
somewhat
protection.
deters them,
We
but-
still get surprises. But anyway, we can walk past one of the gardens.
Okay, this is kind of tight in here, but this fence isn't on, right? You don't have the fence on, do you?
No, the fence is just disabled.
Good, just making sure. So our son says, why don't you make the path bigger? We said, well, you know, then we have to lose.
I know.
So I do, you know, push it away to get through. It was kind of crazy. It was really too tight. I said, you'll never get through here if we don't do something.
Well, it's hard to believe that when you came here, this was,
A
It
pasture.
was a pasture.
that's amazing to me.
I think we have a picture of it too. No, the chickens are up there and we're fine. So this is the first building that we built, this little old, and that's the chicken house
Oh, this
where
little
Harriet
building.
lived. Harriet lived in there.
Oh my goodness.
Harriet went up and down this path and she was the leader of the turkeys.
Oh.
Remember?
Oh, I know. I'm so
Oh.
regret that I did not visit her in her.
Oh, she was just, she said, I'm in charge here.
Well, when you were here, you remember we had young turkeys?
Yes.
Okay, well, they adopted Harriet as their mother, and they just followed her where she went, and she taught them chicken things. And even when they like surpassed her, like twice her size, they still like respected
This
her
is
as like the elder of the. It was hilarious.
She had this moment because I regret she had a very limited life. She just had 2 friends.
Yeah.
And one died early on, and then it was just her and Agatha for 8 years. And so for her to adjust and say like,
Oh, she said, I'm a mother now. She was so cute. And I could pick her up and I'd take her in at night, you know, and put her down, and then they'd all come around her.
that's
It was
so
great.
nice.
Yeah.
She had friends. I'm so glad.
She was a
Thank you
very
so
nice
much.
chicken.
She was such a good chicken. She was always at the bottom of the totem pole on this little. Yeah, so it's so interesting to me that she was.
She blossomed.
She did. She got
Oh.
confident, I think, because Agatha was always the top chicken and Amelia was
Interesting.
above her. So I think she came into her own
Yeah.
late in life. And had her moment.
She was great. I'm so glad that we had time to get to know her.
So appreciative. I just remember she was just so.
These are raised beds. We have a mill and we mill lumber, and so these are what's called flitches of the slab wood. You see, this is when we square up a log, you have to get rid of the roundness to make cans. So these are left over, and we just use them. And when they finally succumb to microbes, like right here. See the mushrooms growing on the flitch.
And it's just an extra assurance that we're raising food without the chemicals that exude from pressure treated wood. And you know, there's an advantage to using pressure treated lumber in a raised bed because you have the durability. But these flitches, depending on which, whether it's ash or hemlock or birch, for example, you know, the lifespan on them is anywhere from 3 to 8 years. And then when they get tired, we put them in a hugelkultur and get fresh ones.
And that's German, right? Hugel? Is that?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
We got the German thing.
Yeah. French,
Very
German.
resourceful. Yes.
Okay, so not much to
And
see here.
this spot is about 1/10 of an acre. It's really difficult to rotate crops in such a small space, but we do our best. And Ann has a little rule of thumb for, well, what was planted there 2 and 3 years ago? Well, let's put this. So this hadn't seen beets for a number of years, so we're growing beets in this bed.
And so this area and those fenced-in areas are all of your food?
And we have a second one
We have
like
another-
this that you'll be able to see.
Yeah, we'll show you. This is called the raised bed garden. And the other one's called the swamp garden because it was pretty swampy. So we'll show you that. But this is basil, and we've already harvested once from this. Parsley, rhubarb, more lettuce. The parsnips didn't germinate very well, as you see. They're really
So
spotty.
we reclaimed the bed with lettuce and edible flowers.
Johnny jump ups?
Yes!
Yeah.
Have you
You
tried
like
them?
I don't know if I've eaten them, but I have
Would
grown
you
them.
like to try one?
Sure, I'll try
They,
it.
Pick a
they're,
flower.
This
Just
little
pull it off,
they're beautiful.
and
It's a little,
it's
little
an
bit of a
acquired
pepper,
taste.
a little peppery taste.
So
little spicy.
Yeah.
a little spicy. I tell people it tastes purple, doesn't it?
It does taste like the color purple. It does. No, that's good. I mean, it tastes like I've had them on salads, I feel like, at
Yeah.
a restaurant.
Yeah,
sure.
right,
Yeah.
right. They do add a little zest to things.
we pick a bunch of them. You can also eat the red clover.
Oh, yeah,
flowers.
I did that when I was a
They're
kid,
very
like,
sweet.
eat
They're
the
sweet.
bottom, kind of.
Yeah.
And so this was your first, the chicken house was your first structure, and you
Yes.
do or don't have chickens anymore. 'Cause you probably
We have
We have
two
two.
now.
Okay, you
We have
have
the
two.
two. Yeah.
And then, what's behind?
There's grapes on top of there, wild grapes, and behind that's the solar barn.
Okay,
We were building these two before the opportunity came to buy next door. And so Alan needed a place to keep the tractor, so we call that the tractor place over
Barn.
here, and this was supposed to be the excavator house.
so tractor barn, solar barn, and chicken coop.
Yeah.
Right.
The solar barn is where he was going to keep his excavator.
Okay.
And it was
Yeah.
really the only place in our compound where there was enough sunshine to warrant putting
Yeah.
panels
Yeah.
And the sugar bush is
up the hill.
Up the hill. We'll show you that
Okay.
too.
okay.
So when we got that place next door, it needed so much work that it was sort of like that civilization in the Southwest that disbanded and just left. Our projects are still waiting. One of the projects we were doing was insulating the bottom part with sawdust. A friend of mine, Carol Stokes, who grew up here and is a little bit older than I am, he told me about his grandparents insulating their house with sawdust. So you have the outside, and then you have the stud wall, and then you put something on the inside, and you just put sawdust in there. And they dismantled, or they were fixing a shed that had sawdust insulation in it, and it was about 100 years old. And so when he looked at it, opened up to the top, the sawdust had only settled like a few inches. And he said, it has to be dry. You can't put anything in, it's not dry. And you mix it a little bit with
agricultural lime.
Yeah, agricultural lime, just to slow down any microbes. And so we have that half done. We can show you in this barn. So there's not much else to see
What
here.
are those big? Is that rhubarb?
That's rhubarb.
Oh yeah, that's rhubarb. And squash and potatoes are starting to senesce a little bit, so we'll get to do them. And we already took.
Of course, we have a horseradish colony. That seems
the big
to.
leaves here. Horseradish.
Yes.
And over here is are the tomatoes. The tomatoes are right here. You see. So we put cardboard down to kind of keep down the weeds and any of the blight.
The spores from lake blight.
And so we use these stakes that we get in the woods. And
we grow about 20 different varieties.
And the peppers are behind them.
Wow, I can't believe they're out and they're not all eaten by raccoons and everybody. That's amazing. Do you just sort of accept you're going to share a certain amount?
Yes, yes,
it
it's
hasn't
inevitable.
been too bad. I already took a crop of lettuce off of here, and these are coming. But I also save seeds, and these two plants are the
Just
same
about
kind.
ready to harvest
So I can
seeds
keep them
from.
together. You have to, if you're going to do, if you're going to get seeds from lettuce, you have to keep the different varieties at least 20 feet apart. So I have one over there and these two here, and they're very fiddly to save because you have to look to see when I already harvested these from last time. They flower first, this yellow, and so there are about 16 to 18 ovaries in here that that have each a seed, and so you wait till they get fluffy at the top,
Just like a dandelion.
and then they'll
seed
open
will-
up, and you'll pick them when they are sort of dried up. I don't see any here. This year has been hard. Oh, see, there's one blooming. And they don't do it, they are sequential. They don't bloom all at once, you know. So you got to go and look at your lettuce plants and see if there's any ripe seeds. And, you know, it's pretty fiddly.
I can remark at this point that with these kinds of activities, you really do tune in to the weather conditions. And what we were doing in 1995 has really changed drastically to what we're doing now. The weather is so unpredictable. Never mind that we've got a growing season that's like 2 months longer than when we first started. But it doesn't seem to translate into more food. It's like more headaches to get the same amount of yield from a small parcel like this. You're working all the time, chasing after various loose ends. New insects show up, and you realize, well, I'm not going to be able to grow Brussels sprouts or leeks or what's the latest thing that we're having trouble with?
Cardamom.
Oh, cardamom, native to Vermont.
We're trying that.
Great.
We may have to break down and buy
A real
a
plant
real
to start
plant
with.
to
Yeah.
start with.
Well, so do you feel like you have seen in your 34 years you have seen the effects of climate change?
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
No question.
Oh, yeah.
First winter we were here, there was one day that it went to 40 below, and I came down to take care of the chickens. I was carrying buckets of hot water to put in there and with the lid on to keep them warm. And I remembered that I heard that up in Alaska when it gets to 40 below or 20
40 below.
It's 40 below.
Yeah.
If you throw water up in the air, then it'll freeze. And so I thought, hey, I'm going to try getting some water here and throwing it up in the air. So I was back there behind the chicken house, and I threw the water up in the air, and my glasses fogged up so bad that I couldn't see anything. And I said, I'm done with this experiment. I believe them. And I went up to the house quickly so I wouldn't freeze. Oh, but we haven't seen 40 below
No.
since.
It's been a long time. I remember because with my chickens, I was always paying it, my little Burlington house, this is not.
We'll show
Okay,
you that.
so geese, ducks, and 2 chickens.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we'll start moving a little faster here. We'll show you that in the solar barn.
Sunday, we're leisurely.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. No schedule.
You go that way.
Oh,
I'll shut the gate.
Okay. Shut the gate. This is the end of the second. We have grapes right there. That's a grape arbor. We get a good number of grapes.
And are you making jam? What are you doing with the grapes?
Sometimes I dry them. Sometimes we make juice, and you can ferment the juice, and it lasts for a while. And sometimes we just eat them. So it's,
Oh, I should have brought you. I have an elderberry tree that's heavy with fruit right now, and I
Oh.
should have brought you some elderberries.
well, that's okay.
Alan just picked the elderberries on our.
Oh, you have tons of elderberries.
Yeah, that's okay. You can share them with somebody who needs them. This is the other current area, but we let the jewelweed grow a little bit there. So it's a little overgrown, but it was weeded in the spring, so it's fine. There's another apple tree. And this is the chicken house, the old chicken house.
So the 2 chickens, do they live in here still? Or?
Yeah, they do. And the house is chicken house. We have it coon proof. You see there's hardware cloth, double hardware cloth. And it's ready.
I still had mice living in my chicken house and rats living underneath my chicken house where there's
Hey,
food,
That's a common thing.
Yeah.
Mice in there, well, it's
That's
okay.
why I'm pretty much done with chickens.
Oh yeah, right.
It's a city.
Yeah. So this is the house, the
This
project.
is the wood you were talking about right here. That you
Oh
would,
yeah, we milled this. This is pine.
This whole structure came from logs
yeah.
that are on our wood lot,
Yeah.
and we used our sawmill to convert them into the structural members, 2x6s, 2x8s, 2x10s, and then the siding is 1 by mostly pine, but some aspen and some hemlock.
so you built the solar barn.
Yeah, we built that one too.
Okay, both.
I had time to paint,
all 3 of these structures you built. You just
Yeah.
started with that one. Okay.
and I had time to paint that one, but I didn't have time to paint this one because of the
Yeah,
project
this one was
that's there.
finished in 2011, so it got painted. This one was being built in 2012 and 2013, and then we purchased the
Yeah.
structure next door, and it never got painted.
Yeah. So we have stacks of lumber back in the woods that are staged for doing projects over here. And we have, as you see over there, there's a lot of stacks of lumber.
And an interesting blue car.
Yeah, that truck died right there. We were going to put it in here for the winter, and it the axle broke, I think, something dire. What was it? The axle?
The front axle.
The front axle broke.
And now
And
it's a
so
sculpture.
we're trying to get rid of it. We would pull it out. I was excited. Somebody said they wanted to have it. Hey. And I said, okay, no problem. We'll just get it, we'll jack it up and winch it out of here. But then they changed their mind. So if you know anybody who wants a really old truck.
I'll put it in there. I'll try and put it
It
in
was
there.
owned by a really nice gentleman.
It's a cool truck.
Yeah.
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 So free to the person who takes
Free,
it away.
yeah,
Yes.
Okay, great.
Okay, free.
I love that. And so what do you store in the solar barn?
Well, it's a multi-purpose. We store some fencing, we store our bikes, gardening stuff, those hoops there when we use the tunnels, the low tunnel. And this is the project this is the project that's stopped.
The sawdust insulation.
Right. So one
Yeah.
of the byproducts of sawmilling is sawdust, and we've accumulated quite a number of yards of it.
This is the limestone we
Why
mix.
do you want to insulate this building so it could be used as a living space, or?
Well, we don't know.
Possibly. That's a
Possibly.
point. Originally, it was going to be the replacement to the chicken coop. And this area was going to be walled off, and we've got water repellent flooring. And it was going to become the new chicken coop.
But then I don't want to put chickens in here. It's too nice for chickens.
That's
So
very nice.
eventually, it'll be a workshop that
Yeah.
we could use probably 8 or 10 months of the year and not worry about having to heat it, because the insulating value of the sawdust is quite amazing.
I don't know if you want to go upstairs or not.
I don't know. You tell me.
It's
Well, a
mostly-
bear last month thought it was interesting enough.
Really?
I forgot to close up this front, and a Bruin walked right up these stairs, got to the top, sniffed around, didn't damage anything, but left a deposit.
Oh,
As
how
a-
thoughtful.
Yeah,
Wow. So do you get many bears out here?
a fair number.
do.
We've never had, actually, since we stopped keeping bees, we have fewer bear
bet.
visitations. So for now, it's a place for storing garden equipment. It's all stable. It just kind of wiggles a little.
Yeah.
So we could dry our onions in October. We'll bring our potatoes up here and cure the skins here before we store them over the winter. And then we've got some overhead storage space for fencing.
So do you, as winter approaches, are you always you got a lot to do to get the things of food stored?
Sometimes, if the beans aren't quite done, the dry beans aren't quite done, we grow them on trellises that it's a sidewalk kind of mesh. We don't have one up here, do we? They're 10 feet by 5 feet, and they have 6-inch mesh. So we'll show you that. The beans grow up there, and there have been times where they were almost dry, but not quite. And the storm was coming, and it was going to be cold after that, and they'd be done. So we just cut off the bean plants, and we take the whole thing up here, and we stack them up here and over here, and we wait till they dry, and then we take the beans off. So we can dry the beans, so we do onions first, then we'll dry the beans till they're really desiccated, and then I'll show you, we'll shell them then. Use them for chili and that kind of stuff.
And then potatoes.
And then the potatoes is the
the
next
final.
thing. And we're going to put some shelving in there one of these years. But we have all of our pots that we use for starting plants and just, storage. This is a roll of stainless steel mesh that we used.
Yeah, this is what we
Yeah,
make
this
our
one.
drying
Yeah,
racks.
It's the drying rack. There's the electric one that's in mothballs right
Oh,
now.
that you're not using because you're doing the solar power.
I think I ought to give it to somebody, because we don't really use it.
So is there a sense of urgency as the seasons are changing?
Oh,
You gotta stay on
we're
top of
urgent all the time. We get up in the morning, we make this list, okay, and it's an impossible list, and then we'll maybe do 2 of them.
I'll put in a plug for Goodrich Lumber over there in Lowell. We bought some of their cedar stock to make the frames for these. The cedar's durable. It doesn't impart any kind of oily or pitchy flavor to the food that you're drying. And the stainless steel is also durable. It doesn't corrode or impart any kind of residue the way galvanized screen would. So these are probably 15 years old, huh?
Yeah.
These racks?
And you have to use stainless steel screws too.
So if you have these to-do lists every day and this, does it get tiring as you both are in your early 70s, is that right?
Yeah. Oh,
We need more sleep per day. This is true, but I don't know if you'd call it tiring. It's always it's always interesting.
It's always
I'd
interesting.
say it's always interesting.
We're motivated to get out there, and we got to do this. We got to have to do a certain amount of things, so we just get after it and do it.
Well, you're not bored. There are some.
I know.
Would you call yourselves retired because you still have the sugaring business?
I don't want to retire. What do you mean retire? I'm going to be busy, you know.
So you're retired from your careers,
Yeah.
True.
but you're still very busy doing things.
Yeah.
So do you feel, like I was telling you, I'm trying to come up with the title, the title of the video that people will click on. So I was thinking, like, retired couple lives sustainably off the land in Jericho. Something like that. Does that feel like it doesn't sound like you? How would you describe yourselves?
Jeez. Retired kind of has a connotation that you sit around and go to the beach or something. I don't sit around. We hardly use chairs. There's not chair.
You haven't sat down once since I got here.
No, we don't sit down during the day except like to eat breakfast or something. Yeah. Because we're busy doing stuff.
Oh, I think it might be raining. Is it raining?
Yeah,
Just
a little bit.
drizzle.
But I don't know. I think I'm just feel an urgency that we have to do this, and if we show people how to do it, and they understand the urgency, then maybe they'll change some of the things they do. Because we got this mindset, you got to have your lawn just like perfect, or else it's a reflection. It's a reflection of your character. And like, who would want to have this place because it looks like the people don't care, but it's quite the opposite. So I don't know how to make a title.
I know. That's my
3
job.
words or less. Yeah.
That's exactly. It's all about SEO and tag words. And blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah.
yeah, yeah.
So that's all your plant.
Yeah, those are plant pots and.
Because you are taking the seeds and then growing things from them.
Right. We save seeds, bean seeds. We save tomato seeds. We save pretty much all the things except onions are pretty hard to save. I tried that and forget it. I'm not doing that anymore.
Sure.
And will be less rained on. This is biodiesel. Our youngest son used to run a grease car.
Well, that was the attraction of the truck because
This is
it was a grease car.
project.
That was the
Yeah.
first grease car that.
Yeah,
Don't have a grease car anymore.
No.
You have that car in the driveway.
Yeah, yeah. I wish we had a grease car, but it's not happening. More lumber piles. More lumber piles.
It's all lumber from your land.
Yeah.
Right. Hey,
These,
there goes Junior.
oh, the raven, the baby raven.
Yeah.
Oh, the baby raven. Where'd he go?
He's very quiet.
I thought his dad saw him. Hey, raven.
This tree fell.
This is one of the trees that crashed. during last week's storm.
This
and
one over here, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, well, we have it cut up now, and that one fell too, so it was pretty wild. Hey, chickies. Hey, chickies. Do you have any food down here for them?
yeah, there's some food for them.
This is our compost system. A guy by the name of, what's his name?
Will Bonsall up in
Bonsall
Farmington, Maine.
Will Bonsall in Farmington, Maine, wrote a book. Damn.
There's Junior.
Hey, Junior. Okay. Let's get you some
Here, it's
food.
underneath here, Ann.
Where is the food,
It's right here.
Tom? Oh,
Right here. See, it's even labeled.
chicken. Where is
I'm
it?
holding these plums, if you wouldn't mind.
Okay, come chickies. What'll I give Junior?
Oh, he'll find what he wants. He's strong enough, he could carry an apple core away if he wants it.
How can you tell that's Junior and not one of his parents?
His voice is different from
Different from his parents.
his parents.
Oh, I'll give him this. I'll give him this chicken and this.
Do you want to put it out underneath the
Yeah.
other tree?
I'll put it out there where he knows it's his.
Definitely.
Rock, 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 rock. Rock, rock. There you go.
We kept guinea fowl for a number of years.
Rock, rock. Don't worry, there's somebody else
Oh.
here. Oh. Somebody else here. Come here. He doesn't trust that thing.
What is that? No. Well, even though his dad's name isn't it so long?
Yeah. He'll come back and get it. Blue jays. That's the dad.
The dad, the dad raising?
Yeah. He's over there. Wait, was that him or is that his dad?
Hard to say.
Oh, he's not here. He's gone.
No.
Oh, that. Oh, right. The swamp garden.
Yeah.
Do that and then get up
Just
to
a
the
quick
house.
stop. I don't know how sensitive the camera is to rain, but this is an example of how we use those reinforcing mesh that they use in concrete slabs. But we find that they're perfect for trellising vegetables. So we've got dry beans growing on these, and then some cucumbers work well.
Slip by so I
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, we can take.
We go right in. You can
Yeah.
get closer.
We'll go in there and then go up to the house. Because the beans grow. We have beans over there too, but this is a squash patch. Then beans on that trellis I was telling you about. There's cucumbers there too, and these are more beans, lettuce and parsley. This is yacone. It's a vegetable from the Central America. Central.
I think it's from South America.
South America.
Yeah.
And
It's a tuber that's related to Jerusalem artichoke or sunchoke.
Now, I don't know how much you water, but are you always, well, depends on how much rain there is, but are you grateful when it rains?
we have a water system. We'll show you up there. See the hose here? It all comes down from gravity. We collect the water in our sap tanks after the season, so we have like 2,000 gallons of water, and of course we don't.
We'll meter it
haven't-
out as needed.
we
But this
haven't-
garden is very moist anyway.
Oh, you haven't used it because it's been raining.
Yeah, we watered a few times.
Yeah.
There's more bone set. And then in through here, there's our potatoes, more beans, trellises, and the beans up there. Potatoes, what else?
There's my squash over there. So are you both vegetarian?
Pretty much. we used to eat chickens. We butchered them, and turkeys we butchered, and for the kids, when they were growing up, I thought they had to have meat and stuff. But our oldest one is pretty much is a vegetarian, and Alan isn't a vegetarian. Neither is his brother, his younger brother. It's okay. That's an aster there. We just keep the aster. Oh, there's another lettuce with little white and yellow flowers.
Does it have flower?
Giant.
Oh, these are the runner beans. They're a different species from the vulgaris, the regular beans, and they're grown a lot in England. But I'll show you them. They are big, and you got.
So when lettuce is
Oh, there you go. You got two of them.
mature for saving seed, the individual seeds develop these fluffy wings, if you will, and I guess in a natural setting that would allow them to be windborne and carried to a new site.
That's where the seed
But that's how we know that they're ready to harvest. You're going to pull some pods, dear?
I'm just going to get one here.
Yeah, there's several, maybe around the.
No, these aren't ready yet.
They're not ready.
No, and the other ones aren't good green anyway.
So that's a. What's the word I'm looking for?
Different species.
I wanted to call it a mutant.
Oh, it's a white runner bean. All right, we'll go to the hoop house first, and then up to the next one, to the undercover. So this is our hoop house that we have. Hey, hi Hawk, how you doing? Good chickies. So I don't like this rain. Let me in the hoop house where I can eat lettuce. Okay, so when it's raining out there, we can come in here and work.
Nice, great.
So we realized that season extending was a key feature to being sustainable here in the Northeast. So we built this structure to allow us to do novel things. There are several varieties of cucumbers that were developed in Israel to make use of the growing conditions there, and so these cucumbers thrive in a hoop house environment. You have to provide trellising so that you get a good airy flow. Without it, the heat would be too intense.
And
Oh.
so,
Again, that's the sidewalk reinforcing mesh.
so tell me again so you are essentially living off of what you grow. What are you purchasing at stores or at other farms?
Aside from beer, we do make hard cider every other year
With your apples?
with apples.
Nice.
No, so we purchase grain,
Yeah.
and we purchase oil and dairy products. We have a nice arrangement with a local dairy farm on the other side of Jericho. That's where we get.
Davis Farm.
That's
Yeah,
where we get our
really
raw
good
milk.
And where does the rest of most of us, I go to the co-op once a week and I come home with 3-4 bags of groceries. So where are you getting the rest of your food that you're eating?
From the land
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So cucumbers, for example, lettuce, tomatoes, peppers.
These are shishitos.
So if something doesn't grow well, if a new insect comes up, I don't get shishitos that year. Like
Right.
you just sort of adapt
Yeah.
around
That's right.
the weather, the
Yeah.
growth cycle, what's doing
Something will work, we hope. Those tomatoes, they're called whippersnappers. Fedco sells them. And they do poorly outside in the garden, but this plastic allows less UV in, and they ripen up and they grow really well here inside. And they're small, but they're pretty sweet.
Very sweet.
And those are really good to dry on the racks.
And then when the season winds up and the weather really starts to turn cold, this is where the ducks and geese come to stay.
Yeah.
This is their winter.
We have the bales along the edge.
We leave the skin on.
Yeah.
And then their poop is probably good fertilizer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So if you've been doing this intense, never sitting down, to-do list every day for 34 years, what was your life like before that? Were you doing more than normal, like grocery shopping?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's right.
we did. We lived in Cleveland. First off.
After we got married, we moved to Cleveland. We did our postdocs there.
And we went to a co-op and got our food, natural food,
that's right.
whatever. And we'd go to the grocery store every day. We had a garden, but it was pretty small. It was small. We did what we could and bought the rest.
And tell me about your childhoods, because your childhood's interesting in terms of kind of coming full circle to.
I grew up on a fairly large dairy farm in Pennsylvania, Southwest, and it was like 500, 600 acres. And we had dairy, a couple of orchards. So these were established by my great-grandparents and grandparents. And so I could see what they did with their food, how they kept their eggs, how they kept the sauerkraut, how they kept apple butter, and how you could preserve food for a long time. And I learned to work. We had to work in the garden and pick this or pick that, and my mother froze a lot of things and grew strawberries and pretty much what we grow here. And so it was a normal way of life. We didn't go to the grocery store all that much. Sometimes my dad liked Cheerios or something, so bought some breakfast food, like that. But mostly it was oatmeal or something.
And so, tell me about your upbringing.
I grew up in a suburb of New Orleans in a family with 6 other siblings. And so I was more or less on my own as a kid to figure out my adventures and what things I like to do. I remember my mother kept flower gardens, and I would help her with some of the weeding and so forth. And my job was mowing the lawn. And as I got a little older, I got a little bit of an interest in growing things. They let me have a little cantaloupe patch each summer. But most of my summers were spent playing baseball and tormenting my younger brothers and sisters.
So you had a lawn. So you had like.
I had the lawn, yeah. And
And
I did lawn mowing for other people too as a teenager. So it was kind of like an ironic source of income for somebody who was later to become
lawnless. You're lawnless now.
That's right.
Lawless, lawnless.
Yes.
Actually, I'm gonna. The light is just a little
Oh,
funny
yeah.
here. Maybe
We
should
could-
to meet each other. Tell me about meeting each other.
We were in grad school.
Yeah, in Columbus,
In Columbus.
Ohio. And I was studying plant genetics and was taking her degrees in entomology.
And why did you decide to start a family together?
Well, originally we were definitely on a scientific research career track, and the way that game was played, you graduate, you find a lab to work in, and you hone your skills and make a name for yourself in some heading of research. And since we were already married, we had made a commitment that whoever got the best next job, that's where we'd go. And so we ended up in Cleveland because Ann had a very nice position waiting for her there. So we lived in Cleveland for 6 years.
And then he got a job, and Tom got a job in Australia, and so he said, well, okay, let's go there.
So we spent 3 years in Australia, and Ann eventually got some research work at one of the local medical labs, right?
Yeah.
And then we had our third child was born there. And about that time, we started to get a little homesick, and weighing the prospects for education of our children, and we felt like the opportunities might have been better back here rather than in Australia. And then Ann got a position at UVM.
And that's
So we just came here.
And that was, what year was that?
That was 1990.
Late 89 is
So
when.
right before you bought
this
this property.
Yeah.
And what year did you get married?
1981.
81. Okay.
Yeah.
So so your kids were young when you.
2, 4, and 6.
Okay,
when
so
we moved
pretty
here.
When we
young
moved
when you
here,
moved
yeah.
And what were your career? How would I say what your careers were?
Well, we were still doing molecular biology postdoctoral research when we moved to Vermont. And that continued for several years, and my grant funding ran out, and I was an adjunct professor for 1 or 2 years, and then I was out of work. And then that's when we started homeschooling our kids. So we did that for about 4 years. And then Ann got a job at teaching at Vermont Technical College.
And in terms of choosing to be sustainable, when did that enter into your lives?
That's good. Good question.
It was
Early on, huh?
It was a way of life, and I didn't think of it as environmentally sustainable, whatever. It was just the way you should live. And then after I was teaching molecular biology, they closed that program, and they said, well, you don't have a job, or you can teach physics and environmental science, or you can quit. So I thought, physics, and environmental science. I said, okay, I'll do it. But luckily, the guy who told us about the sawdust was a physics teacher down there. And so he took me under his wing and showed me how to teach. And mostly it was like classrooms of 30 guys in auto tech, whatever kind of thing. I said, okay, no problem.
Raising 3 boys probably helped.
Yeah, it was
create that
I
classroom.
Understand boys better
chemistry
than women, so it was great, and they tolerated me, and I, tell them that they really do know about forces, and then I'd show them, I'd set up something, and I'd say, now what's going to happen if you do this? They said, well, that's how to draw the free body diagrams. You already know how things work, and we're just putting it on paper. And so they came along, and I really enjoyed teaching them. And then I had to teach environmental science, and that's when I really started thinking, oh my gosh, this is
by the time you start
real.
reviewing the literature and becoming more acquainted with what the science was saying as opposed to what was opinions being bantered about in the media.
Mm-hmm. It was around the year 2000 when I read an article that showed how the CO2 was rising very steeply and at time, and how it was 200,000 years over. Was it 200? The Vladivostok.
The ice cores?
Yeah.
400,000 maybe.
400,000 maybe, but it was always fluctuating like this, and then all of a sudden it's up like, and I sat there for I don't know how long, and I just thought, this is really terrible. So I got to do something. Meanwhile, I'm driving down to Randolph from.
No, you carpooled.
I carpooled.
So one, I know this is something we talked about. You did not want to use fossil fuels. Is this
Yeah.
one of the things that you?
That was one of the things.
Okay.
Yeah. And the 3 rules of sustainability, or tenets or whatever. And so you just try to follow those, and feel more empowered, and not so much at the whim of what's going to happen. But
And like you said, like if the trucks stop, like during
Yeah,
the
when-
pandemic, some of the trucks did stop.
Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah.
when the trucks stop, because they will at some point, because we can't continue agriculture like we've really messed up the West, with cattle and corn and that type of agriculture. The soil out there used to be like 3 or 4 feet. The topsoil used to be 3 or 4 feet thick, and now there's no topsoil. You just inject the nitrogen, and away your corn goes. Hybrid.
Then in Vermont, we have these small farms.
Mhm.
Dairy farms are disappearing, but we do have small farms, and then we have floods hitting them over and over again.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I just don't know how many are going to be able
Yeah.
to roll with the constant changing fortunes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the amount of
Growing,
money
growing
they-
our own food helps us appreciate just how much work it is for farmers to earn a living here, and people are entrained to economize as much as they can on their expenses. And when it comes to food versus medicine, there's this interesting trend that's taken place in the last 50 years. In the Nixon era, Americans were spending on average just under 30% of their annual income on food, and just under 10% on medicine and healthcare. And that is completely reversed now.
Is it, really only 30% on healthcare? I would think it's more
Well,
like 50.
might be.
Well, I
Yeah.
think rent has
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
supplanted
Right.
Yeah.
healthcare as far as.
Yeah, and food is really expensive.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. Well, I think the rain has stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
we
think
could
so
make a
too.
migration.
Yeah. We'll go up, maybe while, would you like to see the sugar house?
Sure, I'll see
Okay.
whatever.
And should I leave the gate as opposed to the door?
Yeah, you can put the gate over.
Okay.
Keeps the chickens out.
They're lettuce fanatics.
Let us eat. So now, we'll show you the big cottonwood tree that fell, and this place was just flat almost.
Well, the cottonwood hit other trees and they came
and
down
the
too.
wires came down. They were just, the high tension wire was broken in a couple places.
All of these were down.
They were down here. We had to step over them, and we had to watch the high tension wire because it didn't look like it was live, but we didn't want to touch it.
How long until you got power?
Oh, we were only out for a day.
A day. Some of the people were done. It's like 3 days.
I know it took about 3 or 4 for some people I saw. We lost power in Burlington, but 3.
Yes. Do you know these? Thimbleberry.
Purple flowering raspberry is the other name.
They're
You
in
should
the-
try one.
They're in the rose family. They don't have briars. They just have fuzz.
They
They're like-
tell you when they're
Yeah.
done, when they have
Ooh.
a little white showing on the base of the flower.
So it's thimbleberry because it's like shaped like a thimble. So if you can hold
There you
your,
go.
be careful, just pull it.
Oh, just pull it.
Just
Pull
pull
it
it.
off carefully. Okay. See it? It's got a little.
So sweet.
So
They're
some of
wonderful.
the kids will put
They'll put
all
five
of them
fingers
on their
worth.
fingers, and one person put it on their nose.
Finger hat.
Anyway,
That's
it's
so cute.
it's cute. It's a thimbleberry.
I love it. No, thank you.
Yep.
Do you eat as you walk through your...
That's
Yeah,
right.
sometimes when we're hungry, we haven't eaten anything. We say, "Where's the thimbleberries?"
Those are delicious.
So this cottonwood tree, see it used to be twice as big, that cottonwood, but it shed one of its huge limbs, fell down on this building, and just flattened all the stuff behind it. And then other trees in the woods were crashing as well. We lost a really old maple tree up the hill. It's sad. Well, let's go up this way. This is the house. We'll go up this way, and Alan's working on the woodshed, kind of closing in one end of it. This plant rack we got from our neighbor across the street. It was an old swing set that was maybe 35 years old, and he was moving. He wanted to get rid of it, and I said, "What are we going to do with this?" Tom said, "Oh, well, we could use it for maybe a bean trellis." I said, "A bean trellis?" And then he had a good idea of making it into a plant rack, because we move them back and forth from the greenhouse to here, depending on the weather. And so this is the old swing set, and we have plants that we bring out here, and this is one of the citrus
We grow
trees.
citrus too as one of our novel enterprises.
I would not have expected that.
Let's go in this way through the greenhouse.
They don't
and then
overwinter, but we have this little accessory that allows us to keep them going.
Yeah, we put them in
Oh,
here.
that goes in here.
Yeah.
So usually in the springtime, this is wall-to-wall plants starting. And
So is this your greenhouse?
Yeah.
This is a greenhouse. We built that in, I forget what year. We dug down to
2008.
2008. We dug down to
Bedrock.
bedrock, and there's about 30 yards of gravel,
Of stone.
stone in here.
And you have a wood stove, did you say?
Yeah, in here.
So we have that's partitioned off into two. This side goes ambient in the winter, but this side we keep above 50 to 80 degrees. And we're growing turmeric and ginger.
Amazing.
They like it in here.
I bet.
It's not. It's just enough light and not too intense. And so that's the stove that we use here. What else? Then these are for plants. We put the trees there in the wintertime. We also keep carrots and beets and that kind of stuff in.
Root crops do well out.
Yeah, we
here.
move them back and forth if it gets too hot or too cold or whatever. And we have rosemary plants. These are small ones that we started this year. Rosemary. There's
Would you
bigger
like a
ones.
rosemary bush?
Oh my goodness. I do have rosemary.
Oh,
growing,
well,
but
good.
what I should do is bring it in. I do bring in some herbs.
Bring it in,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and then I can maybe.
We have, this is our woodshed out here, more citrus.
I remember you
These
saying you had a lot
citrus.
of wood. Oh, citrus. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is amazing. So this goes in there.
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
I don't expect limes. These are limes?
No, this is a lemon tree,
Oh,
but they're not
green.
ripe yet.
They're not, yeah.
And so this is all your wood. I know you said you need 3 different kinds.
Yeah, for the 3 different size stoves. You can probably get a better shot of it over here. We're going to go up this way to the sugar house. And our son's over here making noise. Wow, you made some
Eva,
progress,
this is Alan.
Hi, Alan. How's it going?
Pretty good. How are you?
Good. I'm Ava. Look at all this wood.
Water.
Is using the solar panels.
Yeah.
It's solar hot water, so it's direct from the sun. The sun heats the water, as
The
it goes
water
through
circulates through the tubing,
and then goes down.
and
We'll
then we
show you
store it in a heat exchanger tank, which we'll show you.
So that's how you have
domestic hot water.
domestic. So like bath or shower or
And dishes and whatever. Yeah.
Okay, comes
Yeah.
from that.
Yeah.
That.
And is the water rainwater? Is it?
We have that from a well, but we could hook it up to. We have a
We have a spring too.
spring
We'll
that
show
we
you.
dug up there, and we have our drinking water coming down. We used to go up to the well and haul it down, but Alan said we have to, join the 20th century or something. And so we rented an excavator and we dug a trench all the way from up there down to here, and so it just goes into the house by gravity. So our drinking water and it has a capacity of
800 gallons.
800
So
gallons.
you're not on the town water?
No.
No, not at
Totally
all.
independent with the
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah. The same guy who told us about the sawdust told us about how to make a spring. And he said if you use 2-inch thick hemlock boards and make it double wall, then it's going to last at least 50 years, and you only have to replace the top ones. And he was right. We built a box with double wall hemlock. That's, what was it, 4 feet by
4 by 4.
4 by 4. And so it was 15 feet long, because it had to go down in, or 12 feet long.
12 feet long.
12 feet long, 4 by 4, and then we had the excavator. We dug a hole and put that box down in there and put gravel in the bottom, and it exits from the hole in the bottom and comes down. So that was a project.
Yeah. That is a project. Well, so my mom is 20 years older than you two. She's 90, as I
Yes.
said.
Yes.
She's definitely slowed down a lot. She still gets out when she can, but she uses a roller now. And
Yeah.
do you all think about the future plans?
Yes, we have had discussions about this, and
I'm sure
our sons have discussions about this, and they say you can't live here, into your whatevers. And we said, well, we'll cross the bridge when we get there.
But it is good to plan.
Yeah, it is good.
There's one of the possible strategies when we bought the house next door was to rehab the bottom floor for us to move in and live there. And that may end up being how we do it, because living in the cabin and with a bedroom upstairs and just the day-to-day efforts of raising food and keeping fit and so forth, eventually they won't be manageable. But for now, we enjoy reasonable health.
And I'm sure it's nice having. How long has Alan lived next door again? When did he?
5 years
Oh,
or
nice.
so.
So I'm
Yeah.
sure that's.
He's
nice
pretty
having-
entrenched. He has all his stuff over there. He's happy.
But you could live on the bottom floor.
Yes.
We could, yeah. Yeah, we could live in their old bedroom. I mean, we could sleep in their old bedroom.
Yeah, it's funny. You never. My mom lives on my bottom floor,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and I didn't when I bought the house. It just never occurred to me, like, oh, it's good that it's all on one floor. It's right next to a bathroom.
Yeah.
You don't think about. I was planning. It just worked out really well.
Yeah.
Oh,
That
yeah.
She's right by the front door.
Oh, that's so
Just
nice.
one little step, and she can go.
Yeah.
That's amazing that you.
That is great.
It was lucky.
There's our
This is
spring
the
box.
Spring box.
Oh, okay. So this is your. Is that your well or?
That's the way, that
That's-
box goes down,
Okay.
10 feet or so.
And that's what now you have.
We
We have
have
a pipe
Pipe that
Embedded
goes down all the
right
way.
down to the house.
So that's an improvement.
So it's buried there. This is the sugar house. Well, we could go approach it from
Yeah, let's go this trail over
This
here.
trail
it's,
over here?
it's less.
that. Yeah, we'll show you some pictures. The tank shed is behind us, so then the sap can run in to the evaporator.
And so you're generally busy, is it, what months are you sugaring?
Well, we'll start getting ready in January. We don't tap our trees until March. That's more of
End
a
of February,
traditional
March,
pattern.
yeah.
So even though the global climate change has allowed some sugar makers to actually start making syrup in January,
We don't do that.
we're still dealing with everything else on a homestead. But we're cleaning the appliances and sap lines. Of course, we have to resurrect all the ones that have fallen down in the course of a year. And so by mid-February, we're really gearing up to make sure our wood is in order and the appliances are clean and
you built this as well?
yeah, this is from wood on the property.
So the only structure, when you moved here, your house was
That-
partially there. That's the only
That was
thing.
it.
And then everything else you added.
Yeah. So this is where we used to process our firewood. It's taken on a new life now that this shed, which is also at the end of its life. But there's a tree that fell in the storm.
Down.
Those look like, are those edible mushrooms?
I don't know. I don't think they are.
We got some.
But we got some golden oyster mushrooms just 2 weeks ago from an elm tree that fell down 2 or 3 years ago, and eventually it got colonized by a spore population. Golden oyster mushrooms are delicious, fresh.
They were growing all over this little stump.
Here's one of the elm stumps that first tipped us off that there was a flush of mushrooms to get.
So this was, we had 3 different sugar houses, you could call them sugar houses, besides the
You'll see it in an
makeshift
old
one.
photo, but the
This is-
original sugar house was positioned sort of right in here, and it was a shack basically, and it was a 4-H project, and the boys tapped about 35 trees just in this vicinity, and then we had a tubing that ran into the sugar house.
Then we built this section right here.
Yeah, then the second iteration was, well, we need a bigger sugar house and a bigger arch. So we built that. And
We
then,
built the walls, and the boys were up putting we had to carry, the thing is, you have to carry everything up here.
yeah, there was no power here.
No, and no power.
Now there is power? Or?
Yeah, yeah, we
have it
added
buried
power.
now. But
And this concrete floor is actually represents 96 bags of saccrete hauled up here by hand.
Wow.
I carried 1, he
Oh my
carried
goodness.
2.
Oh, who carried the others?
No, I mean, we
She
made
carried probably about 2 dozen of them, and I probably
80
carried
pounds each.
about 50 of them, and the kids probably carried the rest. It
Well,
was a group effort.
I mean, that's not the right term. Like, I'm thinking taming the wilderness, but you're not taming the wilderness, but you
We're just
are,
trying to,
Trying to fit in.
and it takes great, fortitude to do that.
moving this thing in was
I bet.
it was
My goodness.
good thing he's the engineer, because he built a special metal trolley to get this in, and this in, and then that and that. We worked all summer.
All
on that,
summer.
Yeah,
Wow.
moving the thing in here.
Wow. Amazing. And so you sell maple syrup
Yes.
Yeah.
and maple vinegar, did you say as well?
Yeah.
We'll have to send you home with a bottle.
Okay.
We'll show
If
you.
you don't mind being a guinea pig.
Oh, certainly not. Certainly
We'll
not.
go back here and where's the? Oh no, the light back here. Ah,
Oh, you're trying to light up? Here, hold on.
Yeah.
It's this switch, Ann.
oh,
Right
wait,
here.
that's the wrong one. There we go. So this we built on later to make for the next iteration. And this can hold syrup that's done. And then sometimes we put it into these barrels to can later.
And how many gallons approximately are you?
100.
Okay. And
We usually do 100.
Do you sell them like at farm stands or?
We're terrible marketers. We have one farm is going to carry our product, and we usually sell it. We have a sign down here, which
Is that rain?
yeah,
It might be a passing.
yeah, or else wind and maybe rain off the leaves. So this is the canning room in here. Here's the,
Oh, so this is where you can for the.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, we can back here. We have this is the little thing we have, and we get it to. We have the chart here for the right density with temperature and the density of it. And this is the vinegar that we take out of the back pan, and we have it about 8%. We adjust it to 8% sugar, and then we let it ferment. You can
Oh, we
smell the
inoculate
vinegar.
it with mother of vinegar.
Yeah, we have the mother of vinegar from the apple cider vinegar, because it
About how much wood it takes.
Wow.
filled up.
That's
So
amazing.
Alan and I were stacking that stuff last week.
Yeah,
We're
that was
bringing
last
it in.
weekend.
Bringing
So
it
is
in.
this one of your 3 wood types, or do you have 4 wood types?
Oh,
Well, this would be the 4th one because we burn anywhere from 2 to 3.5 foot long pieces. We mix the 2 lengths to kind of optimize the burn rate in the arch.
So I know we have in Burlington, our electricity comes from burning wood, and that is very controversial. Right?
Oh,
So, but
yeah.
how do you
I
all
have
feel?
at the economics, and the newspaper had
We did. We did a whole
a
story.
recent story about it too. Yeah. Is it renewable? Yes, it's renewable. Does it have a carbon footprint? Yes, it does. But what are the alternatives? If you stopped using the wood, what would take its place? It would probably be fossil fuel derived from somewhere else, or hydro derived from somewhere else, which would have its own social justice aspect, because the lands that are used to generate the hydro represent basically a cult.
I really need to have a flat screen TV, or do I really need to sit there and watch videos?
What? You don't want people to watch videos? Come on, Ann. How dare you?
Just a few, just a few.
Just the good ones.
Just the good ones. No, but it robs kids of time. You only have, everybody has 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
And if you spend that time not in the present, you rob yourself of becoming whole. I don't know how else to say it.
Well, I didn't have the camera on, but you were saying everyone should think of their own carbon footprint and think
Yeah.
about what changes they could make. It doesn't have to be as massive as what you two have done, but
No.
it could be something small,
Yeah.
like instead of putting a kid on a phone, going outside or something like that. I mean, little.
Yeah, it's disturbing to me to see parents use the phone as a babysitter, because you're being robbed of your time with your child. Your child is not, the bond is not going to be as strong, and those are things I'm concerned about.
Well, you gotta work, so everyone's busy, so they can
Yeah.
buy the TV, so they can pay for the electricity. It's all this big cycle. Is it this way?
No,
we can go down. We'll
go
go
this
down
way.
the trail that we went to bring all the stuff up. This is our trail here. That's another pile of logs. Alan got the billboards have those large tarps that they get rid of every now and then, so you can purchase them. So he purchased a number of these to cover the logs to keep them drier, and so it really helps not to have the rain on them all the time. And then when we cut them up and split them, they're much drier than they would be otherwise. So this is the trail that we've used for many years.
In March and April, we sometimes don't eat breakfast and supper the same day.
Oh my goodness.
And so all of us know how to go down this trail in the pitch dark at 3 in the morning.
You can almost, you can do it. It's you kind of know where the turn is, and your feet know where to go. This is the tank shed. Yeah, this is water now.
So we have a pre-filter up the hill that collects snow melt or spring rains in a settling tank, and then we pipe it in a 1-inch line, and we fill our sap tanks with the snow melt as a hedge against droughts in the summertime.
Which haven't been a problem lately.
No, they have not.
But we can use it to do anything, wash stuff or
So we have
whatever.
multiple water sources.
Yeah.
Rain,
Yeah.
Snow.
snow,
And
your
the spring.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you're kind of prepared for whatever.
Yeah.
You never know.
You never know.
Is this a better trail to use?
No, well, we can go down that way, I guess. This we just added on here because the tanks used to be out in the weather, and we have to just put tarps and put metal on top of them to keep them. That's how we kept them dry before.
So going
now
forward, we're
move
going
it
to
into
have
here.
our tanks will be underneath a roof.
And what's in here? What is this?
This is
This
an
is a-
equipment room.
Oh yeah, this
There's
is.
so many buildings, and I'm not sure they all are.
Yeah, watch your step here. This is a. Yeah, you step
Well,
here. Then
one
you
of the
step
things
over.
that Alan wanted to add to cut down on our carbon footprint was a sap concentrator so that we don't have to burn as much wood. So the reverse osmosis machine has to operate in an above freezing temperature. So we modified this part of the tank shed to have an insulated compartment to operate the reverse osmosis. And then the center compartment, we operate our
Dug a trench, Alan dug a trench, and now we have electricity up to the sugar house underground, and it goes down that hole in that conduit. So we don't have electrical problems anymore like we used to.
the 500 projects that you are mid.
Midway through,
Yeah. Well,
a little bit here, a little bit there. So we can, the kids dug that pond when they were little. Call it the fire pond. In case we had a fire, we'd be able to use the water. It's dried up now. It's only seasonal. And there's another pond that frogs like that one. But we can go down this way
Okay.
if you're game.
Sure.
You can come down this way. That's what I do. And this,
I can see how 3 little boys would enjoy.
This
Oh, they
actually
each
was
had
the,
a hemlock tree right here.
Yeah.
One of them's gone now. The two of them are still here. But they each had a tree that they could climb. They each built a little tree house way higher than I would have let them if I knew. And they were light enough that they could go to the very top and just sway in the breeze.
They love to do
And
that.
wasn't it your mother who
Yeah, my mother was
came
taking
to
care of them.
babysit them once?
And she called. She said, I heard them, but I couldn't see them. And I was looking all over the place for them. And then they said, after a while, they said, we're up here. And she looked up, and they were like 20-some feet up in the tree, swinging back and forth. I said, don't worry about us. We're okay.
What was her comment? She said,
Oh.
quote from one of them, we live dangerously around here.
How did all your parents, how did they all feel about?
Oh, they were hugely skeptical. And thought we were crazy.
Did they come around eventually?
Yeah, your parents
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
moved here
Yeah, they did.
in retirement and lived here for about 6 years.
Yeah, yeah,
At your house?
No,
No,
they bought a
next.
property just down the road.
yeah. It was nice.
You inspired them, I think, too.
Yeah, yeah. They were cool with the lifestyle.
That's wonderful.
Okay, let's see.
I'm trying to think where I should take a still for the video. Should it be in front of your house, or what do you think in terms of?
Or do you want to do? We could do a 10-minute thing
Let's
over
do it,
next door,
Sure.
and then come back here, and you can decide where you want to do it. Then, it's
So the original house ended here.
Okay.
We added this
that thing.
addition
And-
after our kids grew up and moved out.
And
No, but actually Alan was able to
Alan helped
live
us,
here for 4 years before we
cut
bought
the trees down and had milled the top and bottom, and I just spent one summer taking bark off all the logs.
So it was a log cabin
Like a draw knife.
when you moved in, and
This is the
And we
one.
added a log addition
Yeah.
to it.
okay. So would you call it a log home or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Log. Why do I think it's log cabin? Is it log home or?
I don't know. Home.
In the
It gets in people's mind of like a large place. I'd say this is more like a cabin.
Log cabin.
Yeah, you can see inside. It's kind of small. All right, are we going across the trail or are we going to go down?
I think it's better to go
Yeah,
down here.
the bridges across the trail there are kind of iffy, especially since it's kind of wet and they're a little slippery. So we'll go this way, especially since this last event here.
Yeah, I don't honestly with my mom and her roller. Don't know if she could navigate.
Oh no, I thought that if she came, we would just be down there.
Yeah. That would.
And no, I realized. What?
We don't go in the woods anymore.
Ah, yeah.
You know, things change.
That's true. That's true. But her mind is good, and that's
Her mind is good. She,
That's-
was hanging out with friends yesterday and walked home, an hour-long walk home. So, you know,
nice.
she's with a friend today. She's still.
I think it's so important for them to have people they connect with.
Yep.
You
She's
know.
not lonely. I don't know if you guys Zoom, but she Zooms all the time. So
Oh,
she
good.
does with people all over the world. She has Zoom friends now. So
Nice.
she's not isolated.
That's one good use of that technology.
Yeah, it really
It
does.
helps people stay in contact with each other.
Yeah, it's a mix of
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, but if you can use the positive side of it, then sunny side with fewer trees.
sunny side for your son.
Oh, right. Oh gosh.
Nice and block.
Yeah.
Hey, ducks.
His partner does a lot of. Well, she has a business, this bird and bee pollinators.
Oh, so she has a sign out there too?
She has this sign right here. This one. How could you have missed it?
Oh my goodness.
How could you have missed it?
Right in the midst of flowers. So she sells native plants.
Yeah, she lived out west for a time, and when she came home, her parents live in Heinsberg, and she went into the woods, and a lot of the plants she'd known as a child were gone. And so she started getting worried about it. So she starts these from seed. She doesn't collect plants, and she pots them, and puts them on. And there's a purple flowering raspberry, this one, and it's in the rose family. You see how it looks like a rose?
It definitely does.
And the fruit is really good, as you've tasted. So she has all these different kinds. She has her favorites too.
The fowl are preening right now.
You could let them out.
Should I let them out?
Yeah, you could let them out.
Okay.
They're all right. That's
Hi, Lucy.
That's a native coneflower. The yellow.
Come on, Gary. They're going to come out
Lucy.
and forage.
Yeah, they're going to come out and get some snails.
She's very vocal.
King is the other goose, and he's our young
King.
Lucy and King. And
Don't mind me.
Lucy is only only a year and a half
She's,
old.
yeah, a year and a half.
And King is
28.
28. He was a pet of our youngest son, and he would carry him around. And
No, they live that long.
he carried him around, and then the ducks would follow him. And
So King is the one in behind. Lucy's
yeah,
up front. Okay.
yeah.
So is 28 like how long?
It's getting up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's getting up there.
Yeah. It was King who spawned the
Oh, the
little
sign.
sign.
Oh, the beware of goose.
There.
Because when King was young and Anne's music students would come from after school, there were certain children that he...
You know, we kind of grow for both of us.
Okay.
So it's a group effort. So there's a garden down there, and we just got some sticker wood and screwed them in so that they fit. So you can come in here, and this is where Toby has her plants.
Well, this is
And
where
this
she
is
starts.
another bunch of gravel, and we just built a knee wall, and these beams are, these curved beams are salvaged from a
We
barn.
recycled them from a dairy barn up in Sheldon, up near the border. And they were going to just...
First plant starts, and she's got all of them going. She really does a good job. So we can go upstairs. These, there's two that are ripe.
I need
You need a
a break.
yeah.
What about you two? Do you need your lunch?
No, we're
Well,
good.
we have
So
some food. We're gonna give
when
you.
the house was moved, we had to build a basement before moving the house. And when the contractor who moved the house set it into position, even though the basement foundation is a square building, the house wasn't. Atomic.
So when you're saying you're using
What
solar
voltage
power,
is it? 20?
the sun is just directly.
Yeah, it comes through the polycarbonate and then it heats this up. These are
Yeah, I'm not sure.
these are currants,
Yeah.
black currants, and they're pretty much
I
dry.
know.
And these are mushrooms, oyster mushrooms, these are dry and ready. And see, they've got the jars
And you do your
there.
drying over here.
Yeah, now we do, except that we used to do it on top of the roof, but that has its problems.
This works here because it's indoors.
Yeah. Good boy, King. Okay, so we'll just look back here. See, he's got the tanks too.
And this
And-
is the path back to your house.
Yes,
Okay.
right.
And they've got tanks here that Toby uses to water her.
Oh, nice, for water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, wow. So you're
No,
getting water from multiple sources.
it noticed that the gutter slants down from the corners to the middle.
Yeah.
And so then that goes through this fire hose here. Well,
Wow.
snow making hose.
Think of all the water I'm wasting at my house.
So this one goes in here. This is an open tote, but we have another, we couple on to another one of these hoses, and then it takes it over to those two tanks in the woods. So every time we have rain, we can fill it up, scrub it out, clean it for the next one, and can even take a bath
And
in
it's
it. 4 years ago? 3 years?
which one?
This one.
You mean the framework? Well, it's not
mills.
done yet.
I
There's
know
the
it's not-
walls.
What else? What else
We
is new?
started it 4 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. So we Alan fixed the footings, and then we put in the beams, and then the structure, and then all three of us, Toby helped at the end. We'd have to put the sheets up one by one on a ladder, and then be up there on the roof and screw them in. And this pitch roof isn't bad at all. You know, I just walk around on there, no problem. The one on this side is a little steeper, and there's more at stake. So to be really careful not to fall off.
Yeah. Photos.
Yeah, we did go through the archives. Are you okay for this?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yes, it does.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. They're not too slippery.
This is the cottonwood that fell. The branch of it. You see a splinter up there.
This tree was only 10 feet tall when we moved here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah, this thing. Yeah, it was
Well,
scary.
I mean, so much has happened since you moved here. So many
Yeah.
things have grown and been built.
Yeah.
When you look at this and think about, I mean, just 34 years of just not developing, but
Yeah,
creating.
just living here and getting to know how to do things. Okay, so where do you want to? Should we go on the porch or?
This is a little bit of video right here. Getting a little bit of, yes, excellent. And now we're doing a little more video. This is a fig tree.
Yes.
Yeah.
So exciting.
Are there little figs? There were little figs.
The ones
did
on
they
the other
fall off?
rack still have their
Oh,
fruit.
Okay. Well, they don't have any fruit, but that's okay.
So, what inside can we look at?
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
go inside.
anything.
Yeah. I have some slippers for you.
Okay, either way, I can do just socks or whatever.
If you want slippers. I have larger feet than you, I'm sure. We're in the middle of switching a stove. Did you want those slippers, or are you okay with socks? Okay.
Thank you.
So that's,
So we've harvested some apples, it looks like.
A few early drops.
yeah. These are the walnuts.
Oh, yeah.
These are walnuts.
Wow.
And those have the hull on them. So those are what you have to let it rot, and then you stomp on them with your feet, and then you rinse them. And Alan had the idea, we use a concrete mixer, so we put them in there and turn it, and then we rinse them and wash them, and then you can get some and show her.
I will.
Oh wait, they're right here. These guys.
Those are butternuts.
These are butternut, but the walnuts look similar. Okay, so here, I brought these in but you've already seen them.
Yes. Thank you.
Do you want to sit down and nibble something?
Well, this is so interesting to me because this is what you're eating. So tell me about this.
This is dried plum.
Okay.
Oh, the fruit flies! My gosh. Anyway, then these are the berries, the thimbleberries. This is dried tomato, and that's citrus peel. We take the peel off of the lemon and cut it up into small pieces. We take the white stuff off, and then we put honey on it, and the honey draws out the sugar, and then we let it dry. And so this is dried citrus peel. These are ground cherries and cherry tomatoes and some blueberries. So you
I would love to just try
sample
it, 'cause
them.
I've never, that's so interesting to me.
Yeah, have it. Cabin in 1993.
Oh, different. That's how it existed when you first moved in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And these are the kids were dressing up the dog. But this is Summer. That's Alan, that's Todd, and that's Tommy. Tommy's the oldest, Alan and Todd.
And what are their last names?
Baribault,
Okay.
yeah, like their dad. And then here are the three of them. In that garden where we were,
The chicken house is in the background there.
Okay, I know that one, yep.
And so they're each holding some tomatoes or something. Todd's on the left, Alan's in the middle. Todd is actually taller than Alan.
Oh, wow.
It's just 2 years younger.
Oh, my goodness.
He's, I don't know where and then that's Tommy. So that's that.
Thank you.
That's him playing cello. This is the first sugar house in 1996. And it's on the site where the other one was. And this is the concrete pad here. And the framing of the walls. And there's one kid up there. And this one is turned that way. So this is where you walked. And that other part wasn't on. So I think that's there. And then we're getting one wall up, and then you get that.
So this is all your 90s projects.
Yeah, we had a tarp on it. And then the kids are up there putting some strapping on. And, this is carrying the tins up. They're carrying it up the trail that you walk down on. And then this one is, the cupola is on the building, that point. And there they are attaching the tin to the roof. There's the cupola, and there's the finished thing.
Wow. And when was that? Like this
was 90, 96, 97?
96, 97.
Yeah, 96, 97. Then this is in the garden where we were down there. This is the chicken house. That's me standing there. It was a lot more open then, not so much goldenrod and stuff. And then I'm holding 2 rhubarb leaves.
Yeah, those are big. My
Big.
goodness.
And this is a picture of us from.
That's my parents' 50th anniversary.
Okay, nice. Not too long ago.
No.
21 years. I guess that was more.
Just a few years.
Yeah, it feels like yesterday
Yeah, I think
to me.
that's it.
Those are great. So this is like early days when you first started working on the
yeah.
property. Do you have any like any childhood photos from like the dairy farm?
Me?
Or early marriage photos or early relationship photos?
Yeah, well, actually, yeah, this was we were going to Tasmania.
Oh, wow.
That's
Those are the
1988.
Wow, so that's right before you came here.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
That's his mother. I guess your dad was taking pictures.
Yeah, that's a
And
picture.
this
my
is
dad
us
took.
in Tasmania. We were hiking with the older two, but Todd was a baby and his mother stayed with him.
Okay.
And
That's in the 19. I wonder if that was at my sister's wedding. It's
I don't
sometime
think
in
we
the
were
80s.
married yet.
No?
Okay, great. So this is like sometime in the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. That's a good one. Not much has changed.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
I still eat a lot. That's
I
what's
get the
your.
feeling that
That
you
was her
don't eat at
comment.
all.
That was her
Looked like
comment.
you
Your
had-
mouth's full.
I think your mouth was full. You had chipmunk cheeks.
I get the feeling that food is not a huge priority.
Oh,
for
here
you.
is one picture of Tom.
Yeah.
In the early 70s, I worked on oil rigs.
Oh, wow. What was the picture I just saw? Was that you, Tom?
Where?
This?
Yes,
No,
that
that's
was him
That's
in
high
high
school.
school.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Do you have any old pictures of you?
Yeah, but I don't know where they are. I really don't know where they are.
Yeah, convenient.
This is him. He's up
Yeah.
90 feet off
Oh
the
my
Gulf.
goodness.
This is in the
That's
Gulf.
crazy.
You know,
Yeah.
the
I've seen
oil
them, yeah.
rigs.
Yeah.
And he was sandblasting
Oh my goodness.
up there. The board is 1 foot wide. And he had to hold on to the gird. Here's a spoon. Would you like, you can taste.
You tell me, how do you do? So you're not having lemonade right now? You just opened the light stuff.
Well, did you want to taste the dark stuff
Sure.
alone? Yeah, that's dried.
I'm interested to see your food storage.
Oh, yeah.
And the kids like to shell the beans. And
So when they come for music lessons,
yeah,
put 'em to
Tom,
work.
get the
I'll
the
get
jars.
that
And then
display.
these are black cocoa beans. These are true Vermont cranberry. They're Abenaki, and they grow on the tall ones. And I'll have to show you the back here. I have the scarlet runners.
Your house is lovely.
Oh, thank you. This is it. This was it till.
Oh, this is it was just this one.
Yeah, the boys' room was that room there. It was 8 by 12, and the kitchen in here, and the loft. And the bathroom was back here. And this was the end of the house. And there was a door to the outside. And so now the storage back here, we can store the vinegar upstairs, and we can store all the canned goods upstairs. So that's in boxes under a bed upstairs. The dried stuff we keep here because it's easy to get. And these are the beans from last year.
You gotta be
These-
so organized to do this.
These are the scarlet runner beans. See how large they are? And these are the white runners.
And you make chilies out of these?
Yeah.
Beans are so good for you.
Beans are terrific. And you know, they don't go bad if you have a poor year, if you haven't lucky enough to have some left over from one year to the next. These are the honeycomb that we still have. And there's some other honey. You can dry blueberries and kale and cucumbers and prunes and plums and all of that stuff. The mushrooms are here. See, they're different kinds. And this is a different kind of mushroom. More mushrooms. Those are empty jars. There's maple. And then there's a bunch of garlic here. And this is a citrus in here, the different kinds of, or different years, different. And then we have poppy seeds. We grow poppies. And that's about it. There's kale, dried kale.
Great.
So we have a lot of dried food. That's left over from last year. This is the addition back here. This is the cook stove. So we cook on here. We heat water on here because in the wintertime we don't have the solar panels or the solar hot water. So there is a loop in the firebox, which this is a firebox, and that's why we need a second kind of, Tom, you need a headlamp.
Oh, I'll get one.
So you cook here in the winter?
Yeah, we cook here in the winter. It's got an oven, and we make the apple butter. You can put the apple butter on this side, and it's just, there's a big steep gradient of heat. So this can simmer, and you don't have to worry about it at all. And then this is the hottest part right here, because your firebox is here, and you only have one layer of metal. But if you look in here, this is, where's the?
That's how they cook with
This
wood.
is you see this this pipe here that goes around in a U
Yep.
shape. This water circles
And I think you said it was 60 gallons hot
80.
60
water?
gallons
80?
Yes.
or 80 gallon.
And how are you heating your hot water?
With
So in the summertime, actually from April through October, the panels on the roof are copper pipes, and the water is heated directly from the sun and circulates into this jacketed chamber, and there's a heat exchanger that stores the hot water. And then in November through March, we switch over the pumps so that we can circulate the water that's being heated in the cook stove into the jacketed chamber.
if we lose electricity, it goes sort of by itself, because the hot water rises and
And the
then
cold water is heavier, so it
falls
sinks.
and it goes around.
So if you did lose electricity,
Yeah.
you
Would
you
still
pretty
be able
much
to heat.
you can heat your house, you can cook,
Right.
so you're pretty self-sufficient if you had to go off the grid.
Right.
Yeah. We wouldn't be scrambling to do things. So, anyway.
I know this has been a
So this is the lettuce I was talking about, and I keep track of which lettuce is where and what kind it is, and then we have records in our this is this year, and we keep track of which peppers we grow and what the germination rate was and that kind of stuff, so that we can then learn from it from the previous year, and we look back to other years and see how they did.
You are definitely biologists and scientists. I mean, this is like, it's like an experiment in some
Well,
ways.
yeah, I mean, this is one of the experiments,
Yeah.
where you had to take data in on paper rather than by computers.
I just read a book about